You're listening to Ears Have Eyes on CJSW 90.9 FM, broadcasting from Treaty 7 territory, home to the Blackfoot Confederacy, Tsuut'ina First Nation, the Stoney Nakoda, and Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. Our program is syndicated on New Adventures in Sound Art and Golden Co-op Radio in South River, Ontario, and Golden, BC. We're your hosts, Caitlin Brown
and Wayne Garrett. To start this episode, we heard an excerpt from the Clifford Simak project, as performed by the Koax Choir. This project takes vivid descriptions of sounds from the science fiction writings of Clifford Simak and interprets them as sound performances. These are the sounds of aliens, creatures, time warps, bizarre contraptions that Simak himself cannot write about without describing sonically. The score is open to any number of musicians playing any type of instrument. Here, in its fourth performance, the piece is performed by the Koax Choir. Josh Ronson, Ann Armstrong, Leanne Cameron, Scott Tellis, and Wendy Ryan, during a group show at Northern Southern Art Gallery based on works of literature. We'll be including excerpts of the performance throughout the episode. You're listening to Ears Have Eyes on CJSW. The theme of this month's episode is Subliminal, Sublingual, Under the Ears and Inside the Tongue. For the first episode of the new year, we're exploring the strange and hazy sounds floating just out of focus, somewhere on the fringe between science fiction, tongue twisters, and the fantastic phonic frequency that can only be heard and not told. We've included abstractions, stories, experiments, spoken word, fantasy, fiction, and more. Tune in and sail away with us under the ears and inside the tongue.
Up next, we're going to hear Murder If No Ill-Lit Side Main named I Still Lie in Fire Drum by sound artist Dave Madden. In his own words, the piece rallies a warning against automation and mechanizing the human condition. Through it, he asks, it's 2024, and a machine can write my entire resume. Where are we going? In its own way, this work epitomizes the at times disconcerting theme of this month's program.
George Hadley walked through the singing glade and picked up something that lay in the corner near where the lions had been. He walked slowly back to his wife. "What is that?" she asked. "An old wallet of mine," he said. He showed it to her. The smell of hot grass was on it, and the smell of a lion. There were drops of saliva on it. It had been chewed, and there were blood smears on both sides. He closed the nursery door and locked it tight. In the middle of the night, he was still awake, and he knew his wife was awake. "Do you think Wendy changed it?" she said at last in the dark room. "Of course. Made it from a veldt into a forest and put Rima there instead of lions?" "Yes." "Why?" "I don't know. But it's staying locked until I find out." "How did your wallet get there?" "I don't know anything," he said, "except that I'm beginning to be sorry we bought that room for the children. If children are neurotic at all, a room like that, it's supposed to help them work off their neuroses in a healthful way. I'm starting to wonder." He stared at the ceiling. "We've given the children everything they ever wanted. Is this our reward? Secrecy? Disobedience? Who was it said children are carpets? They should be stepped on occasionally. We've never lifted a hand. They're insufferable, let's admit it. They come and go when they like. They treat us as if we're offspring. They're spoiled, and we're spoiled. They've been acting funny ever since you forbade them to take the rocket to New York a few months ago. They're not old enough to do that alone, I explained. Nevertheless, I've noticed. They've been decidedly cool toward us since. I think I'll have David McLean come tomorrow morning to have a look at Africa. But it's not Africa now. It's Green Mansion's country and Rima. I have a feeling it'll be Africa again before then. A moment later, they heard the screams. 2 screams. 2 people screaming from downstairs. And then, a roar of lions. Wendy and Peter aren't in their rooms, said his wife. He lay in his bed with his beating heart. No, he said. They've broken into the nursery. Those screams. They sound familiar. Do they? Yes, awfully. And although their beds tried very hard, the 2 adults couldn't be rocked to sleep for another hour. The smell of cats was in the night air. Father, said Peter. Yes. Peter looked at his shoes. He never looked at his father anymore, nor at his mother. You aren't going to lock up the nursery for good, are you? That all depends. On what? Snapped Peter. On you and your sister. If you intersperse this Africa with a little variety, Sweden perhaps, or Denmark, or China, I thought we were free to play as we wished. You are, within reasonable bounds. What's wrong with Africa, Father? Oh, so now you admit you have been conjuring up Africa, do you? I wouldn't want the nursery locked up, said Peter coldly. Ever. Matter of fact, we've been thinking of turning the whole house off for about a month. Live sort of a carefree, one-for-all existence. That sounds dreadful. Would I have to tie my own shoes instead of letting the shoe tire do it? And brush my own teeth? And comb my hair and give myself a bath? It would be fun for a change, don't you think? No, it would be horrid. I didn't like it when you took out the picture painter last month. That's because I wanted you to learn to paint all by yourself, son. I don't want to do anything but look and listen and smell. What else is there to do? All right, go play in Africa. Will you shut off the house sometime soon? We're considering it. I don't think you'd better consider it any more, Father. I won't have any threats from my son. Very well. And Peter strolled off to the nursery. Am I on time? Said David McLean. Breakfast? Asked George Hadley. Thanks. Had some. What's the trouble? David, you're a psychologist. I should hope so. Well then, have a look at our nursery. You saw it a year ago when you dropped by. Did you notice anything peculiar about it then? Can't say I did. The usual violences, a tendency toward a slight paranoia here or there, usual in children because they feel persecuted by parents constantly, but, really nothing. They walked down the hall. I locked the nursery up, explained the father, and the children broke back into it during the night. I let them stay so they could form the patterns for you to see. There was a terrible screaming from the nursery. There it is, said George Hadley. See what you make of it. They walked in on the children without rapping. The screams had faded. The lions were feeding. Run outside a moment, children, said George Hadley. No, don't change the mental combination. Leave the walls as they are. Get! With the children gone, the 2 men stood studying the lions clustered at a distance, eating with great relish whatever it was they had caught. I wish I knew what it was, said George Hadley. Sometimes I can almost see. Do you think if I brought high-powered binoculars here and... David McLean laughed dryly. Hardly. He turned to study all 4 walls. How long has this been going on? A little over a month. It certainly doesn't feel good. I want facts, not feelings. My dear George, a psychologist never saw a fact in his life. He only hears about feelings, vague things. This doesn't feel good, I tell you. Trust my hunches and my instincts. I have a nose for something bad. This is very bad. My advice to you is to have the whole damn room torn down and your children brought to me every day during the next year for treatment. Is it that bad? I'm afraid so. One of the original uses of these nurseries was so that we could study the patterns left on the walls by the children's mind, study at our leisure, and help the child. In this case, however, the room has become a channel toward destructive thoughts, instead of a release away from them. Didn't you sense this before? I sensed only that you had spoiled your children more than most, And now you're letting them down in some way. What way? I wouldn't let them go to New York. What else? I've taken a few machines from the house and threatened them a month ago with closing up the nursery unless they did their homework. I did close it for a few days to show I meant business. Aha. Does that mean anything? Everything. Where before they had a Santa Claus, now they have a Scrooge. Children prefer Santas. You've let this room and this house replace you and your wife and your children's affections. This room is their mother and father, far more important in their lives than their real parents. And now you come along and want to shut it off. No wonder there's hatred here. You can feel it coming out of the sky. Feel that sun, George. You'll have to change your life. Like too many others, you've built it around creature comforts. Why, you'd starve tomorrow if something went wrong in your kitchen. You wouldn't know how to tap an egg. Nevertheless, turn everything off. Start new. It'll take time, but we'll make good children out of bad in a year. Wait and see. But won't the shock be too much for the children? Shutting the room up abruptly for good? I don't want them going any deeper into this, that's all. The lions were finished with their red feast. The lions were standing on the edge of the clearing, watching the two men. Now I'm feeling persecuted, said McLean. Let's get out of here. I never have cared for these damn rooms. Make me nervous. The lions look real, don't they? Said George Hadley. I don't suppose there's any way... What? That they could become real. Not that I know. Some flaw in the machinery, tampering or something. No. They went to the door. I don't imagine the room will like being turned off, said the father. Nothing ever likes to die, even a room. I wonder if it hates me for wanting to switch it off. Paranoia is thick around here today, said David McLean. You can follow it like a spoor. Hello. He bent and picked up a bloody scarf. This yours? No. George Hadley's face was rigid. It belongs to Lydia. They went to the fuse box together and threw the switch that killed the nursery. The two children were in hysterics. They screamed and pranced and threw things. They yelled and sobbed and swore and jumped at the furniture. You can't do that to the nursery. You can't. Now, children. The children flung themselves onto a couch, weeping. George, said Lydia Hadley, turn on the nursery, just for a few moments. You can't be so abrupt. No, you can't be so cruel. Lydia, it's off and it stays off. And the whole damn house dies as of here and now. The more I see of the mess we've put ourselves in, the more it sickens me. We've been contemplating our mechanical, electronic navels for too long. My God, how we need a breath of honest air. And he marched about the house, turning off the voice clocks, the stoves, the heaters, the shoe shiners, the shoelacers, the body scrubbers and swabbers and massagers, and every other machine he could put his hand to. The house was full of dead bodies, it seemed. It felt like a mechanical cemetery. So silent. None of the humming, hidden energy of machines waiting to function at the tap of a button. Don't let them do it, wailed Peter at the ceiling, as if he was talking to the house, the nursery. Don't let Father kill everything. He turned to his father. Oh, I hate you. Insults won't get you anywhere. I wish you were dead. We were, for a long while. Now we're going to really start living. Instead of being handled and massaged, we're going to live. Wendy was still crying, and Peter joined her again. Just a moment, just one moment, just another moment of nursery, they wailed. Oh, George, said the wife, it can't hurt. All right, all right. They'll only just shut up. 1 minute, mind you, and then off forever. Daddy, 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 sang the children, smiling with wet faces. And then we're going on a vacation. David McLean is coming back in half an hour to help us move out and get to the airport. I'm going to dress. You turn the nursery on for a minute, Lydia. Just a minute, mind you. And the three of them went babbling off while he let himself be vacuumed upstairs through the air flue and set about dressing himself. A minute later, Lydia appeared. I'll be glad when we get away, she sighed. Did you leave them in the nursery? I wanted to dress, too. Oh, that horrid Africa. What can they see in it? Well, in 5 minutes we'll be on our way to Iowa. Lord, how did we ever get in this house? What prompted us to buy a nightmare? Pride, money, foolishness. I think we'd better get downstairs before those kids get engrossed with those damn beasts again. Just then they heard the children calling. Daddy, Mommy, come quick, quick! They went downstairs and the air flew and ran down the hall. The children were nowhere in sight. Wendy? Peter? They ran into the nursery. The veldt land was empty, save for the lions, waiting, looking at them. Peter? Wendy? The door slammed. Wendy! Peter! George Hadley and his wife whirled and ran back to the door. Open the door, cried George Hadley, trying the knob. Why, they've locked it from the outside. Peter! He beat at the door. Open up! He heard Peter's voice outside, against the door. Don't let them switch off the nursery in the house, he was saying. Mr. and Mrs. George Hadley beat at the door. Now, don't be ridiculous, children. It's time to go. Mr. McLean will be here in a minute, and then they heard the sounds. The lions on three sides of them, in the yellow veldt grass, padding through the dry straw, rumbling and roaring in their throats. The lions. Mr. Hadley looked at his wife, and they turned and looked back at the beasts edging slowly forward, crouching, tails stiff. Mr. and Mrs. Hadley screamed, and suddenly they realized why those other screams had sounded familiar. Well, here I am, said David McLean in the nursery doorway. Oh, hello. He stared at the two children, seated in the center of the open glade, eating a little picnic lunch. Beyond them was the waterhole and the yellow veldt land. Above was the hot sun. He began to perspire. Where are your father and mother? The children looked up and smiled. Oh, they'll be here directly. Good. We must get going. At a distance, Mr. McLean saw the lions fighting and clawing, and then quieting down to feed in silence under the shady trees. He squinted at the lions with his hand up to his eyes. Now the lions were done feeding. They moved to the water hole to drink. A shadow flickered over Mr. McLean's hot face. Many shadows flickered. The vultures were dropping down the blazing sky. A cup of tea? Asked Wendy in the silence.
That was an excerpt of the Clifford Simak Project by Koax Choir, a live performance interpreting the sonic world of sci-fi author Clifford Simak. The next piece, The New World, comes from Texas-based sound artist Christie Blizard. Christie's sound work strives to explore the interstitial spaces between life and death. The New World was recorded with various synthesizers and Eurorack modules in an attempt to communicate with ghosts and different energies that can move through electrical frequencies. They approached this particular work through their lens as a painter, using a palette of textures and improvised choices to evoke a space for otherworldly energies. This is The New World by Christie Blizard.
We just heard The New World by American sound artist Christie Blizard. You are listening to Ears Have Eyes on CJSW 90.9 FM, New Adventures in Sound Art, and Golden Co-op Radio. The theme of this month's program is Subliminal, Sublingual, under the ears and inside the tongue. Up next, you're going to hear Pull Apart by multidisciplinary storyteller, poet, and musician Aliyah Aziz. Aliyah uses light to talk about shadows and sound to physically move them through us. Her expressions take many forms, including multimedia moving collages of archived material, experimental sound and poetry compositions, interactive media installations, and live performances. What has been pulled apart? It is only distortion. The separation is an illusion. It is smoke and mirrors and paths drawn in the sky. Pull Apart is a recording of an improvised tape composition featuring a field recording taken during the Canadian International Air Show in September. Rather than the sounds of the planes, the recording was taken on a walk down the viewing path by the lake and includes an excerpt of sound where the planes were not flying, instead a recording of the crowd gathered to watch. It is this recording of the sonic distortion of the sounds on tape afterwards that echoes that of the planes piercing the sky. Sound becomes an echo to interrogate, not separate from source. There's a violence that cannot be filtered out of what we hear, an underlying presence in the stories we tell ourselves in cognitive dissonance. This is Pull Apart by Aliyah Aziz.
You just heard Pull Apart by Aliyah Aziz. You've been listening to Ears Have Eyes on CJSW 90.9 FM and Golden Co-op Radio. The theme of this month's program is Subliminal, Sublingual, Under the Ears and Inside the Tongue. We're coming to the end of our program. We have a monthly invitation to submit your own sound art, experimental music, field recordings, and spoken word or noise to Ears Have Eyes. To learn more about the program, or read more about the works on today's show, visit hibernationproject.ca and find the tab Ears Have Eyes. Thank you to all the artists on this month's episode. We're going to finish this episode with one more excerpt from the Clifford Simak project by the Koax Choir.